You're behind. You know it, I know it. Maybe you're 25 and your friends already have careers. Maybe you're 35 and still haven't started that business. Maybe you're 45 and watching others live the life you always wanted. Here's what nobody tells you. Being late might be your biggest advantage. Before we dive in, a quick note. I'll be speaking at a comfortable, measured pace. Take your time. Read along with the text on screen. Let each word sink in. This video is designed not just to transform your thinking, but to help you master reading English while absorbing life-changing ideas. So relax, follow along, and let's grow together. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why starting late isn't a disadvantage, it's a strategic position. You'll learn how to compress decades of progress into years, how to skip the mistakes others made, and how to turn your lateness into unstoppable momentum. This isn't motivation. This is strategy. Society lies to you about timing. We're told there's a right age for everything. Graduate at 22, career by 25, house by 30, retire at 65. These aren't natural laws. They're arbitrary markers created by people who lived in a different world. A world where you worked one job for 40 years. A world where information moved slowly. A world that no longer exists. Yet we still measure ourselves against these outdated timelines. We panic when we don't hit them. We call ourselves failures when we're simply on a different clock. But here's reality. Most successful people were late. Ray Kroc started McDonald's at 52. Vera Wang entered fashion at 40. Colonel Sanders founded KFC at 62. Alan Rickman got his first movie role at 46. Julia Child published her first cookbook at 50. Samuel L. Jackson didn't become a star until 43. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote her first book at 65. Stan Lee created his first hit comic at 39. Were they late? Or were they exactly on time? What if late is just a story we tell ourselves? What if there's no such thing as behind, only different paths to the same destination? Here's the truth. Early starters often waste years wandering. They don't know what they want. They follow paths others chose for them. They accumulate experience, sure, but much of it is useless. They take jobs because that's what everyone does. They chase promotions they don't want. They build lives that look good on paper, but feel empty in reality. By the time they're 40, many are starting over anyway, changing careers, leaving marriages, searching for meaning they skipped in their rush to be on time. You've watched others make mistakes. You've seen what works and what doesn't. You've gained something early starters never have. Clarity born from observation. You know which paths lead to dead ends. You understand which sacrifices matter and which don't. You've lived enough life to know what you actually value, not what you're supposed to value. This isn't theory for you. It's lived wisdom. Think of it like chess. Beginners move fast, making random moves. Masters sit back, study the board, then strike with precision. Every piece matters to a master. Every move has purpose. There's no wasted motion, no random decisions, no hoping things work out. You've been studying the board while others were moving pieces blindly. Your lateness forced you to think, and thinking is your secret weapon. While others acted on impulse, you developed judgment. While they burned energy on everything, you learned to identify what matters. While they scattered their focus, you've been sharpening yours. But here's the catch. This advantage expires. Every day you wait, you're wasting your strategic position. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. Clarity without execution is just daydreaming. You've done the hard work of understanding. Now comes the harder work of doing. So let's turn that position into action. Right now, you're probably comparing yourself to others. Your college friend who's already VP, your cousin who bought their third property, that entrepreneur on social media showing their overnight success. Every time you open your phone, there's another reminder of how behind you are. another engagement announcement, another promotion post, another vacation photo from someone who seems to have it all figured out. And each one feels like proof that you're failing. Stop. You're playing a rigged game. Social media is a curated museum of other people's best moments. Nobody posts about their struggles at 2 a.m. Nobody shares the rejections they got before that acceptance. Nobody broadcasts the arguments, the doubts, the moments they almost quit. You see the trophy. You don't see the training. Here's what you're not seeing. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. That VP, they're drowning in stress and hate their job. That property investor, leveraged to their eyeballs, one market shift from disaster. That entrepreneur, 7 years of failures before that overnight success. That couple who looks perfect, they're in therapy trying to save their marriage. That fit person you envy, they're battling an eating disorder. That wealthy friend, they haven't spoken to their kids in months. You're comparing their carefully constructed image to your raw, unfiltered reality. It's like comparing a movie trailer to your everyday life. Of course you feel inadequate. Comparison is theft. It steals your focus, your energy, your clarity. Every minute you spend scrolling through someone else's achievements is a minute not spent building your own. Every hour you waste feeling inadequate is an hour you could have invested in actual progress. Comparison doesn't motivate you. It paralyzes you. It makes you question your path instead of walking it. Here's a better game. Compare yourself to yourself 1 year ago. That's your only valid metric. Are you smarter than you were 12 months ago? Healthier? More skilled? Closer to your goals? Those are the questions that matter. Everyone else is irrelevant to your journey. Their wins don't diminish your potential. Their speed doesn't determine your pace. But there's something deeper here. When you compare yourself to others, you're accepting their definition of success, their timeline, their priorities. You're letting someone else's values dictate your goals. You're chasing achievements that might not even align with what you truly want. You're running a race you never agreed to run. Maybe success for them is money. For you, it might be freedom. Maybe success for them is status. For you, it might be impact. Maybe success for them is accumulation. For you, it might be experiences. There's no universal scoreboard, no cosmic ranking system. Success is personal, not universal. What if you defined success differently? What if catching up means catching up to your own potential, not someone else's achievement? What if the only person you need to overtake is the version of yourself from yesterday? This changes everything. Suddenly, you're not competing with billions of people. You're competing with one, and that's a race you can actually win. The moment you stop measuring yourself against others is the moment you actually start moving forward. Because comparison creates a moving target. Every time you get close to matching someone, they move forward. Or you find someone new to compare yourself to. It's an endless cycle of inadequacy. But when you measure against yourself, the target is clear, the progress is visible, the wins are real. Because here's the secret. You're not in a race with them. You never were. They're running toward their finish line. You need to run toward yours. Their destination might be corporate success. Yours might be creative fulfillment. Their path might require sacrifice of family. Yours might prioritize relationships above all else. Different races, different tracks, different finish lines. Stop watching their race and run your own. Okay, so you're late. How do you actually catch up? There's a formula that lets you compress 10 years of progress into 3. It's not magic. It's mathematics. First, ruthless focus. Most people spread their energy across 10 different goals. Result? Slow progress everywhere. You can't afford that luxury. Pick one thing. Just one. The thing that, if you mastered it, would change everything else. Not 3 things. Not a few priorities. 1. Second, reverse engineering success. Find someone who has what you want. Study their path. But here's the key. Don't copy their journey. copy their principles. They spent years figuring out what works. You can skip straight to the working parts. Third, velocity over perfection. Early starters have time to be precious about quality. You don't. Ship the 80% solution now and improve it later. Done badly today beats perfect never. Fourth, leverage. You cannot catch up doing what everyone else does. You need multipliers. Technology, systems, other people's audiences, other people's money. Every hour you work should create value beyond that hour. Fifth, strategic debt. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about sleep debt, relationship debt, health debt. You can borrow from these accounts temporarily, but you must have a repayment plan. Sprints work. Marathons run on debt destroy you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Catching up requires intensity that looks unreasonable to others. They'll call you obsessed. Good. Obsession for 3 years beats casual effort for 30. You can't out-experience people who started before you, but you can outskill them. Here's how. Skill stacking. Most people try to be the best at one thing. That's a crowded race. Instead, become very good at multiple complementary skills. The combination makes you unique. Example. Being a good writer isn't special. Being good at writing plus understanding psychology plus knowing marketing? Now you're rare. You're not building a single tower. You're building a foundation of interconnected skills that support each other. Here's your advantage as a late starter. You can see which skill combinations actually matter. Early starters picked skills blindly. You can cherry-pick the valuable ones. Think about T-shaped skills. Deep expertise in one area, broad competence across several others. That depth gives you credibility. That breadth gives you connections. But here's what most people miss. You don't need to master every skill. You need to reach good enough in multiple areas, then find people who complement your weaknesses. The fastest path forward isn't becoming Superman. It's building a team where everyone's strengths overlap others' gaps. And here's something powerful. Teach what you learn immediately. This does 3 things. It forces you to understand deeply. It builds your reputation. It creates a network of people who value your knowledge. You don't need 10,000 hours to start teaching. You need to be 1 chapter ahead of your students. Here's the brutal truth. Starting late means fighting 2 battles. The external one, building skills, making progress. And the internal one, managing your mind. That internal battle kills most people before they even begin. You wake up and immediately feel behind. You scroll social media and see others winning. You start something and your brain screams, "What's the point?" You're too late. This is the momentum problem. Objects at rest stay at rest. Starting from 0 takes massive energy. But here's the physics everyone forgets. Objects in motion stay in motion. Once you're moving, staying in motion takes far less energy than starting. So, your job isn't to plan the perfect 5-year journey. Your job is to generate enough momentum to get to tomorrow. How? Small wins. Ridiculously small wins. Can't write a book? Write a paragraph. Can't run a marathon? Walk around the block. Can't build a business? Make 1 sales call. Your brain needs evidence that progress is possible. These tiny wins create that evidence. But there's a trap. The novelty effect. Week 1, you're motivated. Week 3, the excitement fades. Week 6, you're tempted to quit and start something more exciting. Don't. Boredom is where the real work begins. Amateurs are driven by motivation. Professionals are driven by systems. Build systems that work even when you don't feel like it. Morning routines, non-negotiable time blocks, accountability partners who won't let you quit. And here's the secret about momentum. It's contagious. As you build momentum in one area, it spills into others. Fix your sleep, your work improves. Start exercising, your relationships improve. Momentum is the ultimate multiplier. Let's talk about what you've lost by starting late. Time, obviously, maybe money, probably early opportunities and connections. But let's talk about what you've gained. First, hunger. Early starters often lack desperation. They have time to be casual, to procrastinate, to dabble. You don't. That hunger is fuel. Second, wisdom. You've seen things. You've failed at things. Maybe you've worked jobs that taught you what you don't want. That clarity is priceless. Early starters waste years discovering themselves. You've already done that work. Third, perspective. When you're young and early, everything feels urgent and important. With age comes the ability to distinguish signal from noise. You know what actually matters. Fourth, network. You might think you're starting with no connections. Wrong. You've accumulated people throughout your life. Former colleagues, old friends, acquaintances who remember you. Most people never activate their dormant network. You're about to. Fifth, resilience. Starting late means you've survived setbacks. You've dealt with disappointment. You have emotional calluses that early starters lack. When things get hard, and they will, you won't crumble. You've been through worse. Here's what you need to understand. Advantages and disadvantages aren't fixed. They're perspectives. The same trait that holds you back in one context propels you forward in another. Your age, a disadvantage in some industries, an advantage in others. Your lack of credentials, a weakness in corporate, a strength in entrepreneurship. Stop trying to fix your disadvantages. Start positioning yourself where they become advantages. Here's uncomfortable math. If you're 35 and want to accomplish something by 50, you have 15 years. That sounds like plenty, but it's not. Subtract time for sleep, work, family obligations, basic life maintenance. What's left? Maybe 2 focused hours per day. Maybe that's 730 hours per year. 10,950 hours over 15 years. Sounds like a lot, right? It's not. Because most of those hours will be wasted on false starts, learning curves, mistakes, and distractions. This isn't meant to discourage you. It's meant to wake you up. You don't have time to waste. Every hour spent on the wrong thing is an hour stolen from the right thing. This creates what I call productive paranoia, a healthy fear that time is running out, forcing you to make every moment count. But there's a balance. Pure urgency without strategy leads to frantic action that goes nowhere. You need directed urgency. Urgent about the right things, calm about everything else. Here's how to create that balance. Work backwards. Where do you want to be in 5 years? What needs to be true 1 year from now to make that possible? What needs to happen this month, this week, today? Most people work forwards, hoping things work out. You work backwards, ensuring they do. And here's the critical piece. Build in forcing functions. Deadlines that aren't movable. Public commitments you can't back out of. Financial stakes that hurt if you fail. Without forcing functions, your brain will always choose comfort over growth. Forcing functions eliminate that choice. Time is your enemy and your ally. Enemy because it's limited, ally because constraints force creativity. The people who catch up fastest are the ones who respect time's limits while refusing to accept them as excuses. Here's something nobody talks about. Starting late means starting alone. Your old friends, they're settled. They don't understand why you're suddenly obsessed. They think you're having a crisis. Your family, they're worried. They want you to play it safe, to stop taking risks. Your peers at your current level, they're content where they are. This isolation kills more late starters than lack of skill or resources. Humans are tribal. We need witnesses to our journey. We need people who get it. Without that, doubt creeps in. Are you crazy? Is this worth it? Should you just accept where you are? Here's the solution. Build your own tribe. Not your geography tribe. Not your history tribe. Your aspiration tribe. Find people who are where you want to be. Find people who are on the same journey as you. These are your people now. This might mean online communities, masterminds, conferences, co-working spaces, anywhere people who understand gather. But here's what's critical. You cannot just take, you must contribute. Share what you're learning. Help others solve problems. Be genuinely useful. The fastest way to build your tribe is to add value before you ask for any. And understand this. Some relationships will end. Friends who can't support your growth will fade. Family who doesn't understand will create distance. This is painful, but it's necessary. You cannot grow into your new life while maintaining all your old relationships. Some people are meant for certain chapters, not the whole book. Let them go with gratitude. Make space for people who belong in your next chapter. Here's why starting late isn't fatal. Compound growth. Most people understand compound interest with money, but they don't apply it to skills, relationships, health, or reputation. Every day you improve 1%, you're not just 1% better. You're compounding on yesterday's growth. Do this for a year, and you're not 365% better. You're 37 times better. That's the mathematics of exponential growth. But here's the catch. Compound growth is invisible at first. The first 90 days, you barely see results. The first year, results are modest. Year 2, they're noticeable. Year 3, they're remarkable. Most people quit in month 3 because they can't see the curve yet. They're standing at the bottom of the exponential curve where it looks nearly flat. Your job is to push through that flatness, knowing the curve exists even when you can't see it. Here's what compounds faster than you think. Reputation. Every time you deliver quality, people remember. Every time you help someone, they tell others. 6 months later, opportunities appear that you didn't know were building. And here's what compounds faster than anything. Skills on skills on skills. Learn skill A. Use it to learn skill B faster. Use A and B to learn skill C faster still. Each skill is a multiplier for the next. But there's dark compounding too. Every day you delay, you're compounding in reverse. The gap widens. The catch-up gets harder. Missed opportunities multiply. This is why starting today, even imperfectly, beats waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The best moment was years ago. The second best moment is right now. Start your compound curve today. Here's the final piece. You cannot catch up while remaining who you are. The person you've been brought you to where you are. That person can't take you where you want to go. This isn't about becoming someone fake. It's about becoming the version of yourself that wins. Most people try to change through willpower. They try to do different things, but behavior follows identity. If you see yourself as someone who's behind, you'll act like it. The shift isn't, I want to be successful. It's, I am someone who does successful things. Not, I'm trying to get healthy, but I am a healthy person. The words matter. Trying implies uncertainty. Am implies certainty. Here's how you make this shift. Act as if. How would the successful version of you handle this? What would they prioritize? How would they spend their morning? Who would they spend time with? Then do that, even when it feels fake, even when imposter syndrome screams at you. Eventually, the actions reshape the identity. You don't think yourself into a new way of acting. You act yourself into a new way of thinking. And here's the beautiful truth. It's never too late to become who you might have been. That quote gets attributed to George Eliot, but the truth belongs to everyone. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be to start becoming who you're meant to be. The question isn't whether you're too late. The question is whether you're willing to start. Right now. Today. This moment. The catching up begins now.